Imagine standing before an invisible magnetic wall. You push with all your strength, believing that if you just try harder, if you just plan better, if you just think positive enough thoughts, you'll finally break through to the life you dream of. But no matter how hard you push, you remain stuck in the same place. The truth is haunting. The wall isn't outside of you. It lives within you. It's the grip. The tight, desperate clutching to control every detail, every outcome, every single step forward. And that very grip is the force that keeps you trapped. He thought he was doing everything right. Every morning began at 5 a.m., his gratitude journal neatly filled with perfectly worded affirmations. He meditated, visualized, crafted vision boards. His day was mapped down to the minute. His goals were clear, his intentions sharp. From the outside, he looked like the picture of discipline and determination. And yet, inside, a different story pulsed. Each move he made felt heavier than the last. The more he pushed, the more life seemed to push back. His breakthrough was always just around the corner, close enough to taste, but never close enough to touch. This is the paradox of control. The harder you try to steer the river, the more it twists and turns out of reach. You believe you're exercising power, but what you're really broadcasting is tension disguised as strength. You say to the universe, "I must make this happen." And the universe, like a perfect mirror, reflects back your signal. Not movement, but stillness. Not freedom, but friction. Not miracles, but the endless repetition of the same stuck patterns you've been trying so desperately to escape. Why does this happen? Because two hidden forces are at work. First, your nervous system. It interprets control as a sign of danger, a survival threat. The moment you tighten your grip, it whispers, something is wrong, something is unsafe. Your body contracts, your energy constricts, and suddenly you are broadcasting fear rather than trust. Second, the quantum field responds not to your words, but to the frequency beneath them. If the feeling behind your actions is frantic, anxious, or forced, the field will mirror that. No matter how beautiful your vision board, no matter how carefully chosen your words, it is your vibration that speaks the loudest. You may truly want expansion, growth, healing. But when the energy behind your actions is rooted in fixing what's broken, you end up amplifying the very patterns you wish to escape. It's like shouting at an echo and wondering why the sound never changes. The harder you fight the moment, the more the moment fights you back. And no amount of spiritual hustle can override this law. Because at its core, control isn't mastery. It's fear wearing the mask of strength. The way forward is not in more techniques, more schedules, more effort. It's in a radical shift of posture, from forcing change to inviting it, from gripping the wheel to letting the current carry you, from commanding life to whispering to it, "I trust what wants to emerge." This is what true surrender feels like. Not giving up, not settling, but opening space for the energy of creation to flow freely once more. Close your eyes for a moment and feel this truth in your body. That constant need to fix, to improve, to control, that's the wall. And just beyond it, there is a vast river waiting to carry you forward effortlessly. You don't need to push against it. You need only to release your grip. This is the invitation, the beginning of everything. The moment you stop trying to break the wall and instead dissolve it from the inside out. And as you do, you'll discover that the life you've been chasing has been waiting all along, just on the other side of letting go. The deeper you look, the clearer it becomes. Control is never just about structure or planning. It's rooted in fear. Fear that if you stop holding everything together, it will all fall apart. Fear that without constant effort, life will slip through your fingers. Fear that you are not enough as you are. This fear hides beneath polished routines, beneath spiritual practices, even beneath words like discipline and responsibility. But underneath the surface, it's still fear. And fear creates resistance. Resistance works like a subtle current running against you. Imagine trying to swim upstream while telling yourself you're flowing with life. Your arms thrash harder, your muscles burn, but the harder you work, the more exhausted you become. This is how many of us live every single day. We mistake tension for power, resistance for progress. And because resistance operates on an energetic level, it becomes invisible. You don't see it. You feel it as heaviness, as frustration, as that nagging sense that no matter what you do, it's never quite enough. On a biological level, Your nervous system is wired to treat resistance like a survival signal. The moment you grip tightly, your body perceives danger. Muscles contract. Breathing becomes shallow. Your awareness narrows to only what could go wrong. It's a primal response designed to protect you. But when you live this way continuously, your body stays locked in a state of subtle alarm. This constant contraction blocks the natural flow of energy that allows creativity, clarity, and abundance to move freely through your life. At the same time, the quantum field, the unseen layer of reality that responds to your vibration, does not listen to your words or your surface actions. It listens to the frequency beneath them. You might say, I trust the process. But if underneath that statement there's a frantic pulse of worry or control, the field picks up only the worry. You cannot trick it. You can only align with it. This is why people who seem calm and effortless often experience synchronicity and miracles, while those who are grinding with desperation keep meeting dead ends. It's not luck. It's resonance. Think of resistance like static on a radio. You can have the right song playing, but if the static is loud enough, you can't hear the melody. Your efforts are like the song. Your tension is the static. Until you quiet the static, the universe cannot clearly receive your signal. And so, it keeps sending you situations that match the noise, not the music you're trying to play. This is why patterns repeat. This is why the same challenges show up over and over, even when you've worked so hard to change them. Here lies the great misunderstanding. Most of us try to overcome resistance by pushing harder. We fight it. We hustle. We tell ourselves, I just need more willpower, more focus, more discipline. But fighting resistance with more resistance only feeds it. The field doesn't care whether you resist failure or resist success. It only registers the energy of resistance itself. And what you resist persists. The first step to shifting this dynamic is radical awareness. To pause and ask yourself, where am I still trying to fix, to control, to prove? Where am I holding so tightly that no new flow can enter? This awareness is not judgment. It's clarity. It's turning on the light in a dark room. Suddenly you see that the monster you've been wrestling with is only your own shadow. And when you see it clearly, you don't need to fight it anymore. You simply stop feeding it. This realization opens the door to a completely different way of living. A life where your energy moves freely, where miracles are not rare events, but natural expressions of alignment. In this space, you begin to understand that resistance isn't an enemy. It's a teacher, showing you exactly where you are out of harmony with yourself. And once you see it for what it is, you have the power to release it. Not by forcing, not by fixing, but by softening into trust. When you let go of the inner battle, something incredible happens. The current that once seemed to fight you begins to carry you. The same energy that felt like opposition transforms into support. And you realize, perhaps for the first time, that life was never against you. It was always waiting for you to stop resisting so it could flow through you. This is the beginning of true freedom. The moment you stop swimming upstream and finally allow yourself to be carried by the river of life itself. Release. A simple word, yet for many, it feels like the hardest thing in the world. We've been conditioned to believe that letting go means weakness, that if we don't hold tightly, everything will fall apart, that if we don't fight, we'll lose. But what if letting go isn't surrendering to defeat at all? What if it's the most powerful action you can take? There's a difference between giving up and opening up. Giving up comes from exhaustion, from a place of despair. It says, I can't do this anymore. But opening up says, I don't need to control this anymore. That subtle shift changes everything. It's like opening a window in a room that's been closed for years. Suddenly, fresh air flows in on its own. You didn't force the breeze. You simply created the space for it to enter. Imagine holding a delicate butterfly in your hand. If you grip it tightly, you crush its wings. You may still be holding it, but it's no longer alive. But if you open your palm and allow it to sit freely, it can rest, breathe, and even take flight when it's ready. That is what true release looks like. The butterfly is your desire, your dream, your vision. Your hand is your energy. Too much control suffocates it. Gentle openness allows it to thrive. Dr. Joe Dispenza speaks of this balance between intention and surrender. Intention is your focused desire, the clear vision of what you want to create. It gives direction, like a map guiding you toward a destination. But surrender is the softening of energy, the trust that you don't need to force the path. Without surrender, intention becomes tension. You begin to push, to strain, to demand. And when you push too hard, you block the very flow you are trying to invite. The quantum field responds to this dance. It listens to the harmony between your clear vision and your calm trust. If you are clear in your mind but frantic in your heart, your signal becomes distorted. The universe hears the chaos beneath your words and mirrors it back. But when your mind holds clarity and your heart holds peace, you become a magnet for alignment. Reality begins to organize itself around your resonance, not your struggle. Release does not mean passivity. It does not mean sitting on the sidelines waiting for life to happen. It is active alignment. It is planting the seed and then allowing the universe to water it in its own perfect timing. You don't dig up the seed every day to check if it's growing. You nurture it with faith. You trust the unseen processes at work beneath the surface. Think about the times in your life when things seem to flow effortlessly. A chance meeting, a sudden opportunity, an unexpected solution that arrived at the perfect moment. You didn't plan those events down to the second. They happened because you were open enough to receive them. This is the natural state of the universe, flow. Our only job is to stop blocking it. Many people confuse control with power. They believe that the more they plan and push, the stronger they are. But true power comes from stillness, from the calm center that says, I trust life to meet me halfway. When you embody this state, you radiate a frequency that draws support to you. People, ideas, and resources align as if by magic, not because you forced them, but because your openness created a space for them to arrive. Release is not failure. It is radical trust. It is choosing to let life unfold without constant interference. It is stepping back, not stepping out. When you release, you don't abandon your dreams. You simply stop strangling them with pressure. You allow them to breathe, to grow, to surprise you. And in that space of openness, miracles find their way in. The world will tell you to grip harder, to hustle more, to fight for every inch of progress. But there is another way, a quieter way, a way that doesn't drain you, but replenishes you. This is the art of letting go. It feels unnatural at first, like walking into a dark room without a flashlight. But soon, your eyes adjust. You begin to see that the darkness was never empty. It was full of potential all along. In release, you discover a profound truth. Life doesn't need your constant supervision. It simply needs your cooperation. Your task is not to bend the river to your will, but to align with its current. Not because you've stopped caring, but because you've finally remembered that the current knows the way better than you ever could. And when you trust that current, you no longer just survive. You begin to flow. There comes a moment when you realize that all the external effort in the world cannot create the transformation you seek. You can fix your schedule, change your habits, rewrite your affirmations, and push yourself harder than ever. But if the energy behind those actions is rooted in fear and control, the outer world will reflect only more fear and more control. True transformation doesn't begin with what you do. It begins with who you are being. It begins with the frequency you emit before you take a single step. Picture a river. No matter how powerful you are, you cannot push the river upstream. You cannot grab the current with your hands and force it to flow faster or straighter. The river has its own rhythm, its own path. You have only two choices: resist it, exhausting yourself as you fight the natural flow, or surrender to it and let it carry you effortlessly forward. Most people spend their lives in resistance, thrashing against the current, mistaking struggle for strength. But those who surrender discover that the current was never against them. It was always carrying them home. When you shift your inner frequency, the world around you begins to respond differently. You notice synchronicities, chance encounters, perfect timing, opportunities that seem to appear out of nowhere. These are not coincidences. They are reflections of your inner alignment. When you are tense and frantic, your energy sends out a chaotic signal, and chaos returns to you. When you are calm and coherent, your energy becomes a clear beacon, and the external world organizes itself around that clarity. The old way of living says, I must fix myself before life can get better. It tells you to identify everything that's wrong and work tirelessly to correct it. But this mindset keeps you trapped in a cycle of perpetual fixing. Even your spiritual practices can become another form of struggle, another way of proving to yourself that you're not enough yet. The more you try to fix, the more you reinforce the belief that you are broken. And as long as that belief remains, no amount of outer change will last. The shift happens when you move from fixing to embodying. Instead of focusing on what's missing, you begin to live as though you are already whole. You let your body, your emotions, and your thoughts inhabit the version of you that you've always wanted to become. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this living as if. It's not pretending or faking. It's aligning emotionally and energetically with the reality you desire, even before you see physical evidence of it. This alignment is what reshapes the field of possibility around you. Think of it like tuning an instrument. If your inner vibration is out of tune, no matter how beautiful the song you play, it will sound distorted. The universe responds to the frequency you broadcast, not the words you speak or the actions you take. When you shift your internal signal, life itself begins to harmonize with you. Conversations flow smoothly. Decisions feel effortless. Doors open without struggle. You don't make these things happen. You become the version of yourself for whom they naturally happen. This is why surrender is so powerful. It allows you to release the tension that blocks your frequency. When you let go of the frantic need to force outcomes, your inner signal becomes clear. And a clear signal attracts a coherent reality. This isn't magic. It's resonance. The same way two tuning forks vibrate together when they are aligned, your life begins to vibrate in harmony with your energy. You don't need to micromanage every detail. You don't need to predict how things will unfold. You only need to maintain your inner alignment. Intention sets the direction. Surrender opens the path. Together, they create flow. You plant the seed with intention and allow life to water it through timing and mystery you cannot see. As you embody this new way of being, a sense of peace replaces the old urgency. You no longer rush to the next achievement, the next breakthrough, the next external proof of your worth. You rest in the knowing that your frequency is already creating the reality you seek. And as you rest, life rises to meet you. You don't chase miracles. You magnetize them. This is not the end of effort. You will still act, still dream, still move forward. But the energy behind your actions will be completely different. No longer frantic or controlling, but spacious and aligned. And in that space, you'll discover a deeper truth. You were never broken, never behind, never separate from the flow. You were always becoming. Now, finally, you remember how to let yourself be carried. They told you that life is about fixing, improving, and correcting every flaw until you are finally good enough. From childhood, you were taught to strive, to achieve, to prove your worth. And so you learned to push, to fight, to control. But what if this belief itself was the very thing holding you back? What if there was never anything wrong with you to begin with? Imagine spending your whole life climbing a mountain, only to discover that what you were chasing was already inside you all along. This is the great illusion of the human journey. You are not broken. You are becoming. Every struggle, every setback, every moment of doubt is not proof of your weakness, but evidence of your unfolding. The problem is not that you need to repair yourself. The problem is that you've forgotten who you truly are. There is a moment of stillness where this truth begins to reveal itself. A pause between breaths, a quiet space between thoughts. In that stillness, the noise of striving fades away. The voices that tell you to do more, be more, prove more, they finally go silent. And beneath that silence, you feel something steady and unchanging. A hum of wholeness that was always there. It's not something you have to earn or create. It simply exists, like the sun shining behind the clouds. In quantum terms, every possibility for your life already exists. The reality you dream of isn't far away. It's vibrating just out of sight, waiting for you to align with it. The collapse of possibility into physical form doesn't happen because you force it with effort. It happens because your internal state resonates with it. You don't push your way into that reality. You relax into it. You let it emerge naturally, like a flower opening when the conditions are right. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this living as if. It's not about pretending or ignoring your current circumstances. It's about emotionally and energetically stepping into the version of yourself that already holds the outcome you desire. You don't wait for the external proof before you feel gratitude, confidence, or peace. You feel those things now. And when you do, your external world begins to rearrange itself to match your internal signal. Think of it like tuning a radio. The station you want to hear is already broadcasting, but if your dial isn't set to the right frequency, all you'll hear is static. The station doesn't need to change. You do. When you tune yourself to the vibration of your desired reality, the noise fades away, and the music comes through clearly. This is how alignment works. You don't create the song. You simply allow yourself to hear it. Living this way doesn't mean you stop dreaming or acting. It doesn't mean you sit and wait for life to hand you everything you want. It means your actions come from a place of resonance instead of desperation. You are no longer pushing against life. You are moving with it. There is a flow, a rhythm, and you are part of it. Gratitude becomes your natural state, not because you've achieved everything, but because you've remembered who you are. You no longer chase wholeness. You embody it. And from that embodiment, everything else begins to align. Opportunities appear. Relationships heal. Challenges transform into stepping stones. Life stops feeling like a battle to be won and starts feeling like a dance to be experienced. The final realization is this: you were never behind. You were never incomplete. Every moment, even the painful ones, has been part of your unfolding. You don't need to control the timing. You don't need to force the outcome. You only need to return, again and again, to the frequency of trust. Say it to yourself now, quietly, as if speaking to the deepest part of your being. I release control. I trust the flow. I am already whole. Let those words vibrate through you like a tuning fork. Let them reshape your inner signal. And as they do, watch how your external reality begins to shift without force, without strain, without struggle. The journey was never about fixing yourself. It was about remembering yourself. The path was never about reaching some distant destination. It was about realizing that you've been home all along. You are not a problem to be solved. You are a masterpiece in motion, becoming, expanding, aligning. And when you finally let go, you'll see that everything you've been seeking has been seeking you too. Take a deep breath and feel the weight you've been carrying. All the expectations, the plans, the relentless push to make life bend to your will. That weight is not life itself. It's the grip. It's the story you've been telling yourself that you must fight to be worthy, that you must hustle to deserve peace, that you must struggle to earn love or success. But what if none of that is true? What if you could simply set the weight down? Not because you've given up, but because you've realized it was never yours to carry in the first place. This is the essence of alignment. Not doing more, but remembering more. Not proving yourself, but embodying yourself. You are not here to control the river. You are here to flow with it, to trust its current, to let it reveal the path that was always meant for you. The universe is not keeping score. It doesn't reward you for suffering or punish you for mistakes. It responds only to your frequency. Your inner state is the broadcast signal, and reality organizes itself around that signal. If your vibration is one of fear, lack, and striving, you will keep seeing evidence of fear, lack, and striving. If your vibration is one of trust, love, and expansion, life will rise to meet you in ways that feel almost miraculous. Dr. Joe Dispenza often says, "Live as if." This isn't about pretending or lying to yourself. It's about stepping into the emotional state of your desired reality right now. If you want abundance, feel abundant before the money arrives. If you want love, embody love before the relationship appears. If you want freedom, create a sense of freedom inside your body before your circumstances change. You don't wait for proof to believe. You believe first, and then proof appears. This is how the quantum field works. Every possibility already exists. The version of you living your dream life is already out there, vibrating like a station on a radio. You don't need to build it from scratch. You simply need to tune yourself to that frequency. The shift is internal, not external. Once you align your energy, life begins to reflect it effortlessly. Think about the most magical moments you've experienced. The times when opportunities appeared out of nowhere, when the right person showed up at the perfect moment, when solutions arrived without struggle. Those moments weren't random luck. They were alignment. You weren't forcing. You weren't controlling. You were open. And in that openness, reality responded with grace. The challenge is that most of us live in the opposite state. We try to micromanage every detail, to predict every outcome, to force things into place. This constant control creates tension. It blocks the flow. It's like trying to grasp water with a closed fist. The tighter you squeeze, the less you can hold. True creation happens with an open hand, with trust, with willingness to let life surprise you. Releasing control doesn't mean doing nothing. It means acting from a place of clarity instead of fear. It's like planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it, nurture it, and allow the unseen process to unfold. You don't need to see the roots forming to trust that growth is happening. The same is true for your dreams. Gratitude becomes the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Not gratitude for what you will have someday, but gratitude for the alignment you feel right now. This state of appreciation amplifies your signal. It tells the universe, I am ready. I am receptive. I am whole. And the universe responds by sending more experiences that match that frequency. Say it out loud or whisper it softly. I release control. I align with flow. I am already enough. Let those words sink into your body. Let them become your new baseline, your new vibration. The moment you choose alignment over resistance, life begins to rearrange itself. People appear. Opportunities unfold. Challenges dissolve or transform in ways you could never have planned. The journey isn't about becoming someone else. It's about returning to who you've always been beneath the layers of fear and striving. When you finally remember, you realize there was never a mountain to climb, never a wall to break through. There was only the river, patiently waiting for you to stop fighting so it could carry you home. And so, as you step forward into this next chapter of your life, do so with trust. Do so with open hands. Do so knowing that the universe doesn't need your struggle. It only needs your surrender. Because when you release the grip, you don't lose control, you gain freedom. And in that freedom, you'll find that everything you've been chasing has been chasing you too, waiting for the moment you were finally still enough to receive it. Close your eyes and imagine this. You are standing at the edge of a vast, open field. The air is quiet, soft, almost humming with possibility. All around you are paths that stretch beyond the horizon. Each path is a version of your life, a different timeline waiting to be lived. None of them are locked. None of them are out of reach. And yet, you find yourself standing still, unable to move forward. Why? Because you're holding on too tightly to the one path you believe you must take. Your grip blinds you to the infinite choices before you. This is how most of us live. We chase one specific outcome, one specific dream, one specific version of ourselves. We tell life, it has to happen this way. And in doing so, we unknowingly shut out all the other ways our desires could manifest. The universe is limitless, but our control narrows it to a single possibility. We don't realize that by clinging so hard, we are suffocating the very life we are trying to create. The truth is, you were never meant to control the timing or the exact form of your transformation. You were meant to align with it. Alignment is not about forcing the universe to give you what you want. It's about becoming the version of you who naturally receives it. When your energy resonates with a possibility, that reality begins to flow toward you effortlessly. Not because you manipulated it into existence, but because you matched its frequency. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this living as if. It's not pretending or lying to yourself. It's embodying the feelings and energy of your desired life now, before there is any physical evidence. When you live as if you are already abundant, already loved, already free, you broadcast that vibration to the quantum field. And the field responds by collapsing probability into reality. This isn't wishful thinking. It's science. It's resonance. Think about the last time something aligned perfectly. Maybe you met the right person at the exact right moment, or stumbled upon an opportunity you weren't even looking for. That didn't happen because you planned every detail. It happened because you were open, relaxed, and tuned to a frequency that allowed it to appear. That is the power of surrender. It turns life into a dance rather than a battle. You don't chase. You attract. You don't demand. You allow. When you release the need to control, you make space for life to surprise you. The opportunities that come are often better than anything you could have imagined. The timing is often more perfect than any plan you could have created. This is the magic of alignment. But it requires trust. Trust that the universe is not against you. Trust that you don't have to figure it all out. Trust that you are already enough, even as you grow into more. Gratitude becomes the key that unlocks this trust. Not gratitude for what you hope will happen someday, but gratitude for the alignment you feel right now. When you can appreciate this moment, even before the external results show up, you signal to the field, I am ready. I am open. I am whole. And that signal is what draws the next steps toward you. You don't need to be perfect to align. You don't need to fix every flaw, heal every wound, or have every answer. Alignment isn't about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you already are beneath the fear and the noise. It's about returning to the calm, steady rhythm of your true self. From that place, action becomes effortless. Ideas come naturally. Support flows in without struggle. And so you realize something profound. You were never broken. You were never behind. You were never failing. Every moment, even the painful ones, were part of your becoming. The challenges were not punishments. They were invitations to release what no longer serves you. The delays were not setbacks. They were alignments, guiding you towards something better than you imagined. As you step forward, let these words echo in your heart. I release control. I trust the flow. I align with who I already am. Repeat them until they sink into your bones, until they become your natural state. Because when you embody alignment, life doesn't just happen to you. It happens through you. You become the channel through which possibility takes form. And in that moment, the need to chase fades away. The fight dissolves. You no longer strain to create the perfect life because you are living it. The field no longer feels like a mystery because you are part of it. You finally understand that everything you've been seeking has been seeking you too. It was never about doing more. It was about being more. It was about remembering that you are the frequency, you are the signal, and you are the miracle you've been waiting for.